Ukrainian fighters destroyed a boat belonging to the Russian Black Sea Fleet that was trying to deliver soldiers from the airborne troops to the Tendrov Island in the Black Sea in the Kherson region. Drones belonging to the Ukrainian naval forces launched a series of strikes on the boat approaching the island. As a result, 7 paratroopers were killed and 4 were wounded. Other Russian soldiers on the island were also targeted by the drones. As a result, there were deaths and injuries among them. Ukrainian drones also targeted a boat with occupying soldiers on one of the islands located on the Dnieper River in the Kherson region. As a result of the strike by a kamikaze drone, the boat exploded, and the Russian soldiers on it were killed.
Ukrainian forces still control the village of Novi Put in the Kursk region. At the same time, fighting in the Sumy region also continues. Z channels write about the advancement of the Russian armed forces in the Yunakovka area. Analysts from the Institute for the Study of War have announced the situation in the Sumy and Kursk regions. Recently, the Russian armed forces conducted combat operations in the area of Kondratovka, Andreevka, Alexeyevka, and Yunakovka. Ukrainian forces counterattacked in the area of Andreevka and Yunakovka. A Russian military correspondent associated with the northern group of the Russian armed forces stated that the commanders of the 2nd Motorized Rifle Regiment and the 5th Battalion of the 234th Airborne Regiment are having a hard time getting their troops to attack Novi Put. It is known that attacks on this village have been going on since August the 25th. Z channels are confident that the Russian command in the Kursk region presented their superiors with false reports about the cleansing of Novi Put. At the same time, Ukrainian forces continue to actively block Tetkino and block all landlines of communication with the help of drones. The head of the Sumy OVA, Oleg Grigorov, stated on August the 31st and September the 1st that 2 civilians traveling along the roads of the Sumy region were injured as a result of Russian drone strikes. Order of battle. Units of the 83rd Airborne Brigade of the Russian Airborne Forces continue to operate in the area of the southern part of Yunakovka. Drone operators of the Smuglyanka detachment coordinate the VKS strikes on Ukrainian troops in the Andreevka area. Drone operators of the Anvar Special Forces detachment strike Ukrainian troops in Senkovka, Gorsk, Klyusi, and Arkipovka in the Chernihiv region, as well as in the area of Novovasilevka, Barilovka, Mogritz, and Velika Rybitsa in the Sumy region. Earlier, media reported that the Kremlin is urgently transferring elite troops from the Kherson and Sumy regions to Donbass. Russian media announced the transfer of units of the 177th Marine Regiment, as well as the 155th and 40th Marine Brigades of the Russian Armed Forces from Sumy region to an unspecified direction to Donbass. An OSINT analyst reported that the Russian command had redeployed units of the 40th and 155th Marine Brigades and, likely, units of the 177th Marine Regiment to Donetsk Oblast. According to him, there are reports that units of the 11th Separate Airborne Brigade and the 76th Airborne Division were spotted nearby in Donetsk Oblast after the Russian military command urgently redeployed these units to the hottest direction. The OSINT source noted that the exact direction of attack of the redeployed airborne units is still unclear. Russian command has also reportedly redeployed units of the 70th Motorized Rifle Regiment from the Kherson region to Bakhmut, possibly to reinforce Russian offensive efforts in Kostiantynivka or Seversk. The Azov fighters managed to improve the defense of the front in the Pokrovsk direction, and now the situation there is better than it was a month ago. This was stated by a military man, deputy commander of the 1st Corps of the National Guard of Ukraine Azov, Svyatoslav Kalina-Palama, in an interview with Ukrainska Pravda. If we talk about the operational zone of the 1st Corps of the National Guard Azov, then by the time we entered there, that is, before August the 4th, the situation was quite critical. As you could see even on the deep state map, the enemy was advancing there. We managed to improve the management and organization of the troops, improve the defense, Palama said. He noted that the problem with this direction is that it is now the main attack of two enemy armies, the 51st and the 8th, and they do not have any particular problems with replenishing personnel. We break them down. They come in for restoration, then quickly replenish and come in again, Palama said. At the same time, according to him, the overall situation is much better than it was before the Azov troops entered the area. During this period, the enemy's losses are approximately as follows: more than 1,600 200th, about 800 300th, 58 prisoners. What's interesting is that they recently took a prisoner from Polohi in the Zaporizhia region, a guy born in 1997 who was forcibly mobilized into the army of our enemy. And this says a lot about the cynicism of our enemy, the soldier shared. Assessing the Ukrainian army, Palama noted that it is strong precisely because the people who participate in military operations and who are developing. It is important to note the generation of young officers, soldiers, sergeants who have been fighting since 2014. They have colossal experience. I would also note the technological component in which we are very strong, he continued. Regarding the enemy, the deputy commander noted he adapts and scales up quickly. He succeeds in this because perhaps in a totalitarian state this is done much faster. But in his opinion, the occupiers have a weakness in motivation. They have it in money and in fear that they will be killed for not following orders, Palama noted. According to him, when Russian officers and even ordinary soldiers were captured in 2022, they believed what they were told on TV, that Ukraine needed to be saved, that they were going to liberate something. Now, there are no such people anymore.